Shooter games and MOBAs are probably the two biggest genres in gaming. But what if we combine these two genres? Well, Deadlock is Valve's new shiny toy, bridging the gap between TPS and MOBA. By the way, this game is not even released yet, but is still hitting 100k players. And as someone who has never touched MOBA games, I would try to survive 24 hours in the occult depths of New York. And as I first launched the game, I already recognized that the mechanics and graphics were very well polished. The movements were smooth and the game gives you a lot of freedom. I was already hopping and sliding in the lobby and even pulled off this trick. But back to the MOBA aspect, the only thing I know about this genre is Faker. He's apparently the LeBron James of gaming or whatever. And that's literally all I know about MOBAs. But well, you know what they say, you learn the most from failure. So my first match ended with a KD of 1 to 10. But at least I was happy when I got my first kill. I knew nothing about the game and was still learning while I was playing. And I realized I probably wasn't learning much by then. There was the shop, abilities, combat, close combat, parry, bosses, souls, and just so much to learn. I decided to hop on YouTube and watch some tutorials. First up, movement. This was probably the aspect that I picked up the most, cause I was addicted to Roblox obbies when I was a kid. Come on guys, everyone has their past. I quickly picked up techniques like the road jump, which gives you a lot of distance while using your stamina. And I also learned that you somehow get infinite ammo when sliding. Are the ammos coming out from my ass or what? Anyways, character choice is the next thing to tackle. Although Apollo looks sexy and tall and nonchalant, which is based on me in real life, the learning curve was quite high. I decided to go with Haze, who is basically a gun spammer. I also realized that the shop was quite easy to master. You just had to copy one of the top kits and you're all set. I still have no clue what my items do, but all I know is that they buff me and they're really cool. I then learned the basics of MOBA. First up, you have to farm these little bots who drop you souls. It levels your character up, giving them more stats to work with. You then can buy items from the shop which gives you extra buffs. In the jungle or whatever, I don't really know why it's called the jungle, but there are basically more stuffs like these crates which drop extra buffs. Basically, the name of the game is to farm up resources, kill enemies, and gain an even wider resource gap. So MOBA games are basically just Monopoly. I did some more training with Haze, learning more movement techs and actually learning what my abilities do, instead of just spamming every button. I then decided to actually play the game, but I was still unfamiliar with the map, enemies, and strategies. So I played the Street Brawl mode instead. It's faster paced, less demanding, and allowed me to learn more basics, instead of being mocked for 40 minutes. Street Brawl is shorter and just more suitable for my brain-rotted mind. Well, it might sound like Street Brawl might save my KD, right? Ooh, maybe I just suck at the game. It just feels like I lose in every single fight I take. After playing a few games of Street Brawl, I still suck at the game. I kept dying and went back to the original mode. After being continuously battered in Street Brawl, I was kind of expecting the same in regular mode. And although my team still lost, the stats this time weren't that bad. I was playing the objective, farming, and got myself my first positive KD. With that sense of confidence, I jumped into my next game. And let's just say I dropped the bomb. Kills after kills, I began to understand how basic interactions work. In the early phase, you should always try to push the wave to the enemy side. This allows you to exert pressure and it's just a good thing. In the mid game, farming resources is really important. Although Deadlock is a shooter, the MOBA aspect played a huge role. If you're underleveled, then just forget about fighting. It just becomes this meme, which, by the way, you're the coughing baby. But with all of that stat, I still lost. I was okay in the early and mid game, but the enemy just kept on pushing me in the end game. My knowledge at this time was kind of shallow, and the Hidden King eventually fell. but that was my first time feeling that I wasn't letting my team down. I continued to play more and learn more mechanics about the game. Alright, so think of Deadlock like a pattern game. Every 2 minutes, these boxes just spawn in. How do they do so? Well, I have zero clue. Every 5 minutes, a boost appears on the bridge. And every 8 minutes, these vending machines spawn. Now what do these do, you may ask? Well, actually quite a lot. At the 2-minute mark, boxes, golden statues, and small camps are spawned in. You can melee the boxes and statues, which both have a chance to drop loot. The boxes will drop souls, and the statues will drop small buffs to your character. So yes, farming a lot of these will add up in the late game. Camps on the other side are these small little goblins from Clash Royale. Killing them grants souls, and it's just another source of resources. At the 5-minute mark, these buffs will spawn on the top of the bridge. And if you melee it grants you a buff. At the 8-minute mark, these vending machines starts to spawn. They are called Sinner's Sacrifice, and it's just a bigger, tankier crate. You need to heavy melee them for 5 times and they will crack down on the final hit. However, if you time the 5th hit according to the shining lights on the top, it actually gives you 4 permanent buffs, which will stack up pretty quick. And at the 10-minute mark, the Spirit Urn will spawn. Basically, if you deliver it to the opposite side of the map, the team who delivers the jar will be granted souls. Yeah, everything about this game is about who gets the most souls. After playing for 5 hours, I decided to try some new heroes and got put into this game as Rave. Rave is a pretty simple hero. You basically shoot and charge up your cards and then just throw them at your enemy. It's a homing missile, so the skill floor is kinda low. But yeah, my teammates did most of the heavy lifting and got me my first win. It took me 5 whole hours to get myself my first win. And at the 7-hour mark, I went back on haste and it just didn't seem to work. I died 3 times in the laning phase and just kept on letting my team down. Since I wasn't playing in some trash lobbies anymore, I was really underleveled and 3 of my teammates have already disconnected. But my 2 remaining teammates did not give up. I was the only one with a negative KD, so I had to work my way up as well. With just 3 players, we somehow turned the tides. Slowly but surely, we were pushing forward.
I got this!
But after that game, I began to have a dip in my performance. I was able to hold on during the laning phase, however in the mid game, I always found myself falling behind in resources. And by the way, if you're underleveled, you quickly become an easy target for the enemies. I was either winning games where I was hard carried, or I would just be demolished. But then I learned a trick called side laning. Initially, I thought jungle camping would be the method to farm the most souls. However, I realized that laning bots actually gives you tons of souls. And after watching more videos on YouTube, I found out that juggling between the jungle and lane is actually the best way to go. Basically, you just push the wave towards the enemy walker, and after that, you fall back and collect souls with other resources, like camps, Sinner's Sacrifices, or even boxes. And yeah, I was initially behind on resources, but after some farming, I became the richest player, and kills were just so easy to get. But another problem has arose. I'm sort of just a one-trick haze, so I forced myself to drop off haze for a while and try playing other heroes. First up, 7. This guy is an electrician maybe? I don't really know. His ability consists of an electric ball, an electric strike, an electric gun, and literally becoming electric. 7 is bad on lane, but slowly becomes a carry as the game goes on. His ultimate has the potential to team wipe and is an insane carry in teamfights. By the way, we don't talk about what it did to 9. But in my first game on 7, I was low-key carried. I realized my playstyle was just too passive. I play too much on my own, and it's mostly focused on farming instead of actually fighting and denying souls from enemies. When you gain an advantage in souls, pushing for kills to extend the soul lead is really crucial. I also understood the importance of not dying. Just don't overextend by too much and make sure to help teammates out in team fights. After absorbing these knowledges, I began to snowball with 7.
Why are you running? Why are you running?
You're all bearing witness.
Next up, Yamato. Yamato is a very special character. After upgrading her abilities, they will all have a very fast cooldown, making her able to spam abilities to chip the enemies down. Her first ability is a charge into a strike. The longer you charge, the more damage your katana does. But sometimes it's more optimal to hit your enemies rather than getting greedy with the charge. Her second ability is a hook which propels Yamato towards the enemies. Comboing this with a heavy attack is very useful. In addition to that, Yamato could also combo her second and third ability, as her third ability is a simple slash, and her ultimate is
Shadow Transformation,
increasing her resistance and attack speed. As the game began, it wasn't going the best. My teammate ran straight into the Mina and got slammed by the umbrella, leaving me in the 1v2 which I eventually died, and our lane was pretty much dominated. Since I was behind on resources, I then side laned for a while. With the help of my teammate, I was able to take out the enemy guardian. I learned from my previous mistakes of farming for too long. Instead, I went to mid to help my teammates out in the team fight. Since I had more souls, I was able to win the 1v1 against the Billy. And as the game progressed, I continued to help out my team in team fights, as well as side laning from here to there. Using the map more to pinch enemies is such an easy but effective way to win team fights. If you could create a 2v1 situation, 9 times out of 10 you will get a kill or an assist. After kills and kills, I went from dirt poor to become insanely ahead in souls. We were able to kill off their entire team and the game was basically ours. Finally, after 24 hours, I became MVP. If you guys enjoyed the video, please drop a like and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next one.